So, good day everyone, and welcome to today's class. My name is Yanda Abdulwasir, and I'm going to be the lead lecturer for AA for this particular diet. So, welcome once again. So, during the last class, which is the first class, we're able to talk about the general overview of advanced audit and and assurance. In terms of what are some of the things that we are going to be what are some of the things that we are going to be talking about? And so we go through the syllabus. So today is just going to be like the normal starting point of it. And I would like to start with this particular area called ethical and professional issue. And just like some of us, we all know, at least before even going through the practice question, majority of the things that we are going to do in AAA, AAA, sorry, there's already an examiner article for it, meaning that okay, if you have a question on any area, there's already an article that is published by the examiner. Okay, these are how I'll expect you to answer question in each of the area. So this is on ethical and on professional issue, and this is the article it has been shared to every one of us. So when we get to another area, whatever the area that we are in this particular subject, there's already an article for it. And please try as much as possible to make the best use of the word of the article, so that we're able to structure our answer based on what the examiner is expecting. And starting from ethical and professional issue, just like some of us who all remember at the skills level, whereby we have the fundamental principle. We have the five fundamental principle. And what are these five fundamental principles? I'm sorry to repeat this again. We have the integrity. We have the objectivities. We have the professional competence and due care. We have the professional behavior, and we also have the confidentiality. So those are the five fundamental Those are the five fundamental principles that we can all remember as a professional accountant. We all know this word code before. What is the code? The code of professional conduct as you as an accountant. The integrity, the objectivities, the professional competence and due care, the confidentiality, and we also have the professional behavior. Another one that I also like us to please have at the back of our mind is also what we call the threat to the fundamental principle. Try to the fundamental principles. So those are, you can see from this article, those fundamental principles may be subject to areas of threat of maybe self-review, maybe self-interest, maybe advocacy, familiarity, and there can also be intimidation. And another one that I also like to add to that as well, we can have what we call management threats. We can also have what we call management threats, please. And this one usually occur whenever you are doing something that is the responsibility of the management, then there's a management threat. That, it is management that is responsible to do this. And maybe you are now being asked as the auditor now to do it. Then that is what we call management that is management threat. So please, let's have this at this level as well. That is also what we refer to as a management threat, apart from the five fundamental threats to the principle, the self. And I think you can always remember the The threat to the fundamental principle may be using this mnemonic called AFIS. We can have the word, the A is for word for the advocacy. We have the familiarity, we have the intimidation, the self-review, and we also have the word, the self-interest. So apart from this 5, there's also what we call what management word threat. And these occur whenever you as an auditor, you are carrying out tasks that is the responsibility of the word of the management. That it is not your responsibility, but you are being asked to do it. Then that is what we refer to as a word as a management threat. So the next thing now is the way we are going to answer question relating to ethical and professional issue will be different from the way we are used to it at the skills level. That is, you can see now, stepping up from AA to AAA. Ensuring a solid foundation of knowledge of the fundamental principle, the trend, and the potential word safeguard. And don't forget, before we even apart from making reference to the words, the principle, integrity, and the rest, and the threat, advocacy as an example, we also need to make sure that there's a safeguard. There's a safeguard. And basically, if some of us will remember from our generic level, from the elementary level, safeguard can come from 2 ways. But before we're looking at the division, what is the purpose of safeguard? The purpose of safeguard is to eliminate the problem, if not to reduce it. The reason why you have a safeguard is to do what? The reason why you have a safeguard is to reduce the problem. Or if it is possible for us to do what? If it is possible for us to eliminate it. That is the reason why we have safeguard. So, and just like you as an accountant, there are some safeguard that is created by your organization. So there's some safeguard that is created by the firm. And there's some safeguard that is created by the professional body, just like ACCA. E.g., we that were from Blue House, maybe firm here now, there's some safeguard that is created by KPMG. And there's some safeguard that is created by the professional body. So what is the purpose of safeguard? The purpose of safeguard is to what? Is to reduce the problem, is to reduce the threat, or to eliminate it if possible. So let's say ensuring a solid foundation of knowledge of the fundamental principle, the threat, and the safeguard to those threats. Candidates at AAA will be expected to develop their understanding more than what you have at AAA, demonstrating their ability to apply their knowledge to the scenario and provide a depth answer, which address the fundamental, not just touching it from the shadow. You go deep. A depth of answer which address the principle. A depth to the answer which address the threat. And the implication of those threats. And considering any possible safeguard or action to be taken. So we want you to have a solid understanding of the principle. So in your answer now, it needs to be it needs to be more depth. In depth in words, in the principle, in depth in the threat, telling us the implication, and also telling us the safeguard as well. All right. So the examiner expects more from you than what you have before at the lower level. So how do we want you to answer now? The examiner has given you this article now. You can download it. That okay? In your answer now, I expect you to have these 3 things. They say read the scenario carefully. They are advising you, and I'm also advising you as well. Read the scenario carefully. Credit is what is awarded for appropriate what application of the knowledge. Referencing to the scenario or the particular issue from it, not just for stating the knowledge. No. So mark is awarded now based on you applying the word the knowledge, not just by you, not just what stating the knowledge. Oh, in this is self-review, this is self-interest, this is advocacy. No. Just stating the knowledge, mark will not be awarded for it. The mark will be awarded not just for the knowledge, but for the application of the word, for the application of the knowledge. So how do you need to structure now? So the examiner team has provided you this article now. How are you going to do this? So the first thing now is you should be able to identify. It's just a 3-step process. This is 1, this is 2, and this is what? This is 3. So the first thing that you need to identify the problem. You need to identify the word. You need to identify the threat. You need to evaluate it. And you need to do what now? Evaluate the ethical problem. That is, you go through the scenario. Don't forget this 3-step. You can use what we call IEA. I like mnemonic a lot, Masha. The first thing, you identify the problem. And don't forget, we are more interested in the words, in the application of the word of the knowledge rather than stating it. And maybe some of us, you just feel like, okay, maybe the class is just starting now because it's just like our first class. We have not, the previous one was just a general overview, nothing special about that. And you are just starting with the practice question because this particular area is not just about me. Okay, our class send you a note. Okay, this is what. At this level, I don't think I'll be explaining what integrity. So, but it's not just about you stating the knowledge. Okay, you know the fundamental principle before. Maybe some of us you take an exemption. Okay, that's fine. Or maybe some of us we are coming from the word direct from ACCA, or maybe from the other professional body. So we have the experience of that already. So what we are more interested is about the word, not just stating the word, the knowledge. It's about what the application to the word, to the knowledge. So you have a question now, just to want to demonstrate it. Let's say you should make a comment on the ethical issue. So what we are talking about now is ethical and professional issue. I think we'll also be talking about and later on we'll also be talking about ethical, professional, and quality control issue. So this is your word. In the exam, sometimes you can have 3. They will ask you for ethical, they will ask you for professional, and they will ask you for what? For quality control. So this is just 2 now, but most time they are 3. Ethical, professional, and quality control. So you are given a word, you are given a simple question now. And you're asked the word to comment on the word, the ethical and professional issue raised, and recommend any action which should be taken in respect of the request from the management team of this particular client. The first thing the examiner is asking is advising us that, if you want to answer a question now, please, the examiner is saying that, okay, well, this is the article. Please don't forget, whatever word, any subject that you're taking, please, the first thing you should try as much as possible to do is download all the words, all the article. So this is the article on what we are, because the article will guide us. That, this is how we expect you. These are how your answer should work. This is how your answer should be. So from this article now, it's saying that 1, identify the problem. Identify the ethical threat. The threat can be advocacy, familiarity. Identify the problem. The next thing is to let's say, evaluate and understand how it raised and the application of it. The evaluation. evaluate and understand how it arises. What leads to it? Because if we say that this thing is a problem, it's not as if the problem will just, there's something that gives birth to the problem. Or maybe some of us, you feel that, oh, within our world, within our society, there's something that is wrong. Or maybe you feel it shouldn't, maybe there's some certain things that you expect should work, but it's not working that way. Then it means that there's a problem, but there's something that leads to the problem. So it's not just about what, it's not just about you saying that, oh, this is the problem. You also need to try to evaluate and understand that, oh, what leads to the problem? And I'm sorry to use this example now because it's not nice. Okay, at least every one of us, you know, okay, there's a conflict between what, Russia and Ukraine, have you? Okay, that's a what, that's a threat, that's a problem. But we cannot look at, okay, what leads to the problem? Why? Why is one trying to what, to evade other? So you need to evaluate and understand how it arises. What bring about the threat? What bring about what the problem? And the next thing is about what is the implication of it? Okay, it's as a result of maybe one is saying you want to join one particular organization, the other one is saying that, oh, don't join. If you join, I'm going to attack you. Different problem, different thing can lead to it. So the first thing, okay, I know that is a problem. You guys are fighting, okay, but what leads to it? Okay, there's a threat. The threat now is what? There's a word advocacy. What lead to the advocacy, and what is the implication of the threat? Let's say for this, you are the one that implement the system, and you're also the one that is doing what? You are evaluating the problem. You are evaluating the system, and you be like, the implication. Okay, there's a word now. There's self-review. What is not the implication of that self-review? You also need to what examiner is expecting you to say something about that. And the third one, they say what? Apply. Identify, evaluate, apply. Apply the knowledge to the word to the specific scenario to determine the safeguard or the course of action required. Because it's not just about you identifying the problem. It's not just about you telling us the words, what is the source, what is the implication. Then that's not enough. You also need to tell us that how can we reduce the problem. That is now when you bring the word, there's a word, there has to be a safeguard. There has to be what? There has to be safeguard. Okay, this is the problem. You have identified it. Okay, this is what led to it. Okay, how can we now solve it? Man? So you have to provide a solution, not just talking about the problem, not just talking about what leads to the problem, and you also need to provide a solution to it as well. So that is where the application of the knowledge is. Or it is what? It is self-review. What leads to it? What is the implication? Then how can we eliminate self-review? And that is one of the most important things that the examiner is what is expecting from you. Not just about what saying the problem, telling us the root cause of the problem, but how can we resolve the problem? And that is why you need to bring in the word is safeguard. And don't forget what is safeguard. Safeguard is to what is to reduce the problem or to what to eliminate it. So this is like our marking scheme now, if I can put it that way. This is how we need to structure our answer now. Identify, evaluate, and do what? And apply. Okay, I think here they just provide you a word, some example. I don't think we need that. What else? So I think that's just the main thing. Okay, that's is there anything there? It's just like it was just a 4-page thing. So note that in the exam, minimum marks are awarded for simply listing self-review or okay, maybe they're talking on the word on the scenario. Mere just you listing the problem. All right, so I think they're just trying to work on. So A minimum mark will be what? Will be given in relation to that word. So let's walk through this example now, and then I still have some practice questions that have been sent as well. Let's say that the audit committee of Mumbai High Court. And what's the problem first? You need to first, what's the requirement? Evaluate the ethical issue raised, and any action of your firm should take in respect of the word of the client request. Let's say 6 mark. Okay, so the audit firm has asked the partner to consider whether it could be possible for the audit team to perform a review. You can see the examiner team as well, they even put it. This is a tax. A number of recent incidents have raised a concern among the management team that control have deteriorated, and as this has increased the risk of fraud, and as well as inefficient commercial practice. The auditor report for the audit of the financial statement of this company for the year ended 31st of March 20X5 was signed a few weeks ago. Okay. So meaning that we have completed the engagement. And another thing is a listed firm. So, and even from our own generic understanding, do you think we can do this? Can anybody try? I think, but I've not heard from you guys quite a while now. Can anybody say something? Being a listed firm now, do you think we can even do it? And forget even about what listed, but look at the tax. Do you think it is a tax that you as an auditor you should do? Can anybody give it a try, please? Do you think so? Because this is a tax now that we are asked to do. You are the auditor and the tax is relating to internal control. Do you think you should accept it? Just yes or no. Do you think so? Can anybody just try? Just say something and let's make it interactive because this is audit. Do you think you can do you can accept that particular tax?
I don't think so.
All right, now that's fine. Anybody else? At least based on that, Minola is saying no. And anybody else try as well? Do you think we can accept the engagement? To be honest, I don't think we should accept that because this is this is a very critical word tax. There's no how you want to define a financial statement without making reference to to their internal control. So whether it's going to be possible for us for the audit team to review and being a listed entity, you can't even you can't do it for that. Because if you review now, at the end of the day, that's when you test the internal control. The result can either be 2. It can show that, the financial state, your internal control system is weak, or the internal control system is strong. Me looking at this scenario now, it seems that the internal control is weak because let's say numbers of recent incidents have raised concern about the management team that control have deteriorated, and this will increase the risk of fraud. So we are now asked now that so look at it now. The first thing that we need to do is now. We need to first of all, let's go back to the answer guide. Let's say first of all, identify the threat. The threat can either be now. That's the first thing. Please don't forget to. Let's take it one after. It can be advocacy, familiarity, intimidation, self-review, self-interest, and in this AAA, we also have what we call management threat. So from this particular scenario now, the first step is identify the threat. So among these 6 now, which one do you think come up? Which threat can we identify from this now? Because that's what the examiner is saying that the approach that we should use. Let's say first identify. So can anybody try? What do you think? Please, let's make it interactive so that you're able to enjoy it. It's a very interesting subject. So what are the threats from this problem now? What do you think? Is it advocacy? Is it familiarity? Is it intimidation? Self-review? Self-interest management? Anybody?
Well, I'll say self-review. I'll say self-review.
Okay, one. Thank you, sir. Self-review. Anybody else? Step one. Say we should identify the word.
Management stress.
Okay, so one also make mention of management. What else again? We have 2 out of 6. Is advocacy there? Is familiarity there? Is intimidation? Okay, we make mention of self-review. What of self-interest? Is self-interest there? So is that the only 2 that we can see from here? Mr. Bamidele, you make mention of what? Self-review. Why? Why do you think it's self-review? Can you explain further a little bit?
Because you are trying to audit an account that you are the one that prepared.
No, this is internal control.
Okay.
We don't have information whether they are the one that set it up. Happy?
But it's been applied. It's been applied by the same company. So if it's going to be, if it needs to be reviewed, it should be by someone else.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I can. Okay, so that's fine. Thanks so much, sir. And Damilola, you also make mention that there's a management threat. That's fine. So why? Why do you think so?
From your explanation of management threat, you said a situation where you have to
it seems that you're using guide.
Okay, so I'm still there. So a situation where you are asked to do something like it's not part of your responsibility, but you are asked to do it, or maybe by a senior management or manager. So in this scenario, there was a situation where they asked one of the partners to carry out the audits.
Okay. No. They said the audits has asked the partner to consider whether it could be possible for the audit team. So the partner is the head of the engagement team, is the leader, is the one that will sign the report. So the management of this committee is now saying that, okay, they are discussing with the partner. Oh, please, can you release some of your boys to come and do what? To come and review the internal control due to there has been some numbers of incident that was raised. So, and if you look at what now, based on the article that the examiner team has and that is the first thing that you also need to read through you need to read through the scenario. I think there's something here. You need to read through the scenario carefully, and you should be able to identify the problem. So the first thing, whenever you come across something like this in the exam, the first thing that we try as much as possible to do is let's identify the problem. So we have identified the problem now, which is the 2 things. We make mention of that. Oh, there's self-review, and we also make mention that there's also a management threat. A management threat will occur whenever you, as the auditor, you are being asked to carry out a certain responsibility, that a certain task that is the responsibility of the management. Setting up an internal control, making sure that your internal control system is effective, is the responsibility of the client, not you. So that is also fine as well. So that was the first thing that we need to do. I think also they have also provided, they say this is going to give rise to self-review and maybe possibly to assume a management responsibility. So that's also like a management. And if you look at now, the examiner team also they say the identification is the first step, just like what the article is saying. Look at the word. That's the first step. Then the next thing now, after you identify, they say this identification is the first step. You need to first of all know the problem, know the threat from that particular situation. But those points in alone will score a minimal words credit in the exam. So I want to walk you guys through this particular article. Candidates should be aiming to demonstrate candidates should be aiming to demonstrate their understanding how the issue has raised and the implication of that. And they provide a simple word now, a simple answer. They say providing a review of the company was system and control give rise to what? To self-review. As those control would be what? Will then be reviewed, just like what Mr. Bamdeli will be reviewed by the firm when they are determining their audit strategy. Because even though you are using a risk-based audit, you are still going to, there's no how. I don't know, maybe some people can maybe share their personal experience that you are not going to relate with internal control. Because there are some tasks that the internal team will carry out that as the auditor, we can rely on it. But before we rely, we have to test their control. So you can see now the way the examiner was structured their answer. I say, oh, providing a review of the company was system and control give rise to what? To serve, because you are still going to come back. There's no how you are going to determine your audit strategy. There's no how you are going to come to perform your audit without what? The internal control. So you still want the other. So when you now give the report to the management today, we now come back next year or in a few weeks' time and say that what? Their internal control system is not good. Because you are part of the team that review it. The firm may be reluctant to highlight error or adopt a substantive approach during the audit. Because if you use a substantive approach, it means that our attention will be given more to internal control. And if it tests the internal control and it is strong, what we do, we'll reduce our We'll reduce our substantive test. So if I review and you say that everything is fine, then how are you going to pick up some error during your substantive process? So, or adopt a substantive approach during the audit, as this may highlight a deficiency in the framework. Additional service. So you can see now, you have explained it generally. That is the first step now. If you go back to this guide that is provided for, identify the trend. And the next thing is now saying understand and evaluate and understand how it arises and the implication you can see is already embedded. The last thing now is about you now saying something about the safeguard. Design of system and control is a management responsibility. So a review of such may give rise to a situation where the auditor is assuming management responsibility by taking on the role of the management. So you can see now, you don't just this answer now that the examiner is they have explained the now. They have explained the problem. They have also explained part of the evaluation. Then you can see the last thing now is about the candidate can now apply the guidelines to the scenario, that is, evaluate the significance and suggest what is safeguard. The first thing in that, when you are explaining it, it has to be case specific. It has to be case specific, meaning that anything that you are saying in in your answer should be something that we can relate to, we can see it. Don't fabricate something that is not there. Even maybe some of us here, you are a manager, you're a senior associate, or whatever the word, you have the experience of it in practice. But if it is not there, don't suggest that, oh, maybe it's going to be as a result of this so due to your own personal experience. No, please. Most of the time, let me even say like 90% of the time, work based on the information that you are seeing on your that computer screen on the day of your exam. Adapt to the scenario. Adapt to your practical experience should not be the first thing. Behave based on the question that is given to you. So the last thing now is what you have to talk about the safeguard. The court states that the threat to independence of undertaking a management responsibility of a client is so significant that no safeguard is what is there. And if there's no safeguard, please, it means that please you shouldn't accept it. This is a very critical role. Because it's their responsibility. So why do you want to do it for them? They should review the internal control. So once it's come to management trend, there's no words, you just have to leave it. And let them come and do it. So you can see now the safeguard that you're saying is like you are saying that there's no safeguard. That's just it. Because this is what now? This is a management trend. Internal control is their responsibility. They will set it up. It's also their responsibility to make sure that their internal control system is functioning. I see no safeguard. So you provide. They also say what? From an exam technique point of view, candidates should be looking for depth of their answer. At this stage, it is now recommended by start speculating about. Please take note of their article very well. It's to make our work to be very easy. Don't speculate. Start speculating about the relative fees, focusing on the work, focus on the information the examiner has provided on the scenario. Don't stress yourself unnecessary. So you can see that what the examiner is also saying now, because you can also you can go to the website. It's I just copied before like 5 minutes to the class. It's already there. That focus on the word, focus on the information provided in the scenario. That there's a management trend. Okay. And even I make mention of something. I think I just highlighted it at the beginning. Being a listed company is also another very special area we are still going to talk about. For a listed company, there are some tasks that you can't do for them. And maybe some of us, you remember, there's a US regulation, SOX. This is a one of the most rule-based regulation in corporate governance that you can ever imagine. And don't worry, when we get there, we'll talk about a little bit of the aspect of this word SOX. That as an auditor, there are some things that you can't do for your client anymore. Just do audit and go. Because sometimes in some jurisdiction it's possible, we call it what? Audit related service. You can be doing audit for them, then you also be supporting them on other area. Okay, but if it is in US, it's not possible. Just do audit and go. Let another individual come and do the rest. So you suggest one, and the final thing, let's walk through it together. Here, the company is being flagged as well as listed company. So there will be a further development available on this area. Candidate should consider how the potential management responsibility issue may be overcome using experience from their study for AA and past question practice. So the examiner is also advising you, please, using the experience from your studies, which at least this is just the beginning. At the time we get to practice management, we'll talk about a lot of these things. And it will just be like we are revising ethical and professional issues. And past question practice. It is those points that may be used to attract further mark. So you cannot still go further now. The management responsibility can be avoided if the client takes responsibility for monitoring the report made and taking decision on the recommendation. So that you're not just good. The client will not just sit down and be expecting that, you as the auditor, people will pay you. So we don't need to we don't need to do any extra any extra tax, because they will pay. So they also need to take they also need to take an active role. So you can also you can also go further. But this particular point, this one that you have here, this one that the examiner say 1 mark now, management responsibility can be avoided if the client takes responsibility for monitoring the report made and taking decision on recommendation. But this particular last paragraph now, that's all. Being a listed company now, this is what prohibited. Being a listed company now, you can't do it. However, as this client is listed, we are prohibited from taking internal audit service, which relate to significant part of the control over financial reporting. So hence, you can put that conclusion and you may not put it. We should decline the engagement, which is also advisable for you as well. At least what's the final? The final is now, at least after everything, you have identified the problem that it is management threat, it's also self-review. Okay, and you explain it based on the case, based on the information that you have provided a word now, you have applied, meaning that you have introduced a safeguard. We make mention that this is a significant management responsibility that you may not really find a solution to it. The examiner, you still go further by saying that if this thing in management responsibility can be avoided if the client take responsibility. You can see now the examiner make mention earlier that where is it so? That the code state that the strength of independence of taking management responsibility for an audit client is so significant that there's no there's no safeguard which could reduce the trend to to acceptable level. You can see in the examiner report, the examiner also go further that you make mention that it cannot be avoided earlier. You still go further by saying that the management responsibility can be avoided if they take responsibility for monitoring it. Meaning that you are not saying that you're going to do it too, but it can be avoided if you take responsibility for it. So if the management take responsibility for it, then that is not our own work anymore. And you now go further now that don't even think of it at all. Because it's a listed company, it is prohibited for us to do it. And the last thing, as such, you make a conclusion now that you should not accept that particular engagement. In other circumstances, and the final note, the safeguard of using a separate team to overcome self-review or considering the competence of the firm to provide a service could attain credit. However, in this case, the client's is listed. So there's no any other point that is relevant. That you may be thinking of, this is what now. I don't know. Let's say, for example, this particular client is in what is in the FSI. And what we cannot do, what you can be thinking of as a safeguard in terms of what accepting the engagement is, okay, rather than what this client is in FSI and it is my team now that we focus on what the financial sector industry. We can still accept it, but it will be ENR. The energy and the natural resources team will pick it up. It is possible to eliminate that because, for example, now my team is what it's FSI. I don't have access to some of the engagements, some of the clients that we have in natural resources. Those in in the energy, oil and gas. So we have different units. So if you say, okay, I mean audit department, okay, where FSI, you where natural resources, this maybe telecom, some maybe consumer sector. So that is also another thing is if that particular client is not listed, but being it is a listed organization, and then it's not possible. Okay. So note in the exam, minimum mark are awarded for simply listing self-review or management responsibility, as they will need to be explained in the context of the word of the scenario. As such, candidates should ensure to take their time to explain the trend rather than simply writing the terms. So please, this is what the examiner is advising you now. Don't just list it. We know at least that, and that's the first thing that you should do. But if you want to explain the self-review, the management responsibility, it should be what? It should relate it. You have to be very, very adaptive. As one of my lecturers used to say to us in this subject, you have to adapt to the subject, adapt to the case. Before you even think of something else that is not in the case, let it be like that's the last point. Let's say that's the last resort. Just focus on what the examiner is providing for you. We know you are auditors. Okay, that's fine, but focus on what you have. The experience that you have now, it may not be applicable to this exam now. So focus, be specific. Focus on the word and the case. So I think that's all, and it's a very interesting article. So please, let's now watch. I think let's practice this. So let's start with one. Just take one. I think I have to. So I can also send this 3. Then we can also send some more later. So let's just start with the simple one. We'll be expanding it. Please, before we go, do you have any question on this? That's the most important thing. Is there any question? Is there anything like some of us would like to point out before we kick off now? Any question, please? All right. So if there's no any question, okay, go ahead, son.
You mentioned something about using a different section to audit. Yes. For example, you want to use the energy to audit the PSI. What if they lack the experience of what to do for the PSI?
Okay, that's a very good question. The auditor, they will. They will have the experience. They will. Okay. But let me tell you something. People in I can still audit people in. I can still be part of the engagement team for consumer sector. Despite that's not my team. But audit is more the same, but the approach is the same. Because we'll still do planning, we'll still assess risks, whether it's in the consumer or whether it's in another sector. You understand, Mr. Bamidele? So the way we are still going to do it is still only that it is now when it is the gap sometimes can come from regulation basis, because the regulation in the financial sector now is quite different from the regulation in the words. Even some of us remember At least maybe some of us we are from Nigeria here. Previously in Nigeria, we used to use SAS, Statement of Accounting Standard. And that one, there's a particular standard that is still applicable. There's a particular two standard that relate to petroleum. There's upstream, yeah, and that one is not contained in the IFRS. And there's also downstream. And there's also another statement of accounting standard that deal with telecom. Meaning that, okay, this is how you do telecommunication business, but there's no any IFRS that talk about these two things. So, but there's a local regulation in Nigeria that address this. So despite adopting IFRS, these three are still they are still in use if you audit now. So people in now, energy and natural resources now, they will surely But me in in FSI now, I don't there's nothing that concerns me with that. So it's just like trying to update yourself quickly, then you go for it. But the generic of doing assessing control, everything is still going to remain the same, despite that the organization is not the same. So they'll still able to do it successfully. So thanks so much for that. So any other thing before we move on? So please, there's no need of you writing anything. I will surely I think I can write the solution here as well. So I will share the work file. So just be patient with me. I will send it. So let me also let's have the solution here. Let's start with the simple one. So now you are a manager of the words. You are the manager for the audit client of XYZ. You are currently performing audit of the financial statement. The management of XYZ has asked you to prepare the financial statement. I don't think as the finance manager has left in in emergency. This is just like a warm-up question. So please, what's the problem here? Sorry, anybody? What do you think is the problem here? There's an emergency now. The finance manager has left. What do you think you do? What are the problems? That's the first thing. What are the threats? It's like you prepare the financial statement. Please, let's make it interactive. If the environment is cool, please, you can leave your mic open. What do you think is the problem? Let's go back. This is the guide. Where is it, sir? This is a guide. The examiner said they are expecting something like this. And first of all, you identify the threats. So from this particular scenario now, what are the threats? And Damilola and the rest of the team. So what do you think? Let's say something now. So that to show at least
Hello,
I know
sir.
that people. Yes, go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Michael. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I think there is self-review here, self-review threat.
Okay.
Because you will now start to review the financial statement that you prepare by yourself. Definitely, objectivity will be impaired.
Sure. That's it.
So that's what I see there.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayeni. So I think let me note it down. Let's say A now. I can say self-review. Self-review. So anybody else? What do you think? Any other one? So you can see, let's go back to our work file. Please don't forget, this is our guide. This is like, to me, this is the answer sheet already. The article is the answer. So the article is saying that first of all, identify the threat. So before we now start explaining and be giving them recommendation. Anybody, what do you think will come up again? So I think we can, let me remove this. So let me just please give me some few seconds. Let me get my charger, please. Just hold on, please. statement. So be reluctant to So I think preparing the financial statement alongside performing the work the auditor of the financial statement give rise to what to self-review, right? Because the auditor will be long-time to what to review their own work later in the what in the audits. Okay. So what do you not think we can do? This is just the beginning. So I can say if what, I don't know. You just so you can make some assumption now that if X is not what, based on what we just read now, is non-listed third company, the effects could be, we can see prepared for them, could be prepared just like what I just mentioned, different team. VFX is not what is a company. The financial statement could be prepared with the use of what different team for what, for audit, and a different team preparing the financial statement. Okay, so I think anybody, I think my brain is, do you want to add anything to this space? Anybody? Do you feel like adding anything? So we are just trying to say that, okay, if it is not a word, if it is not a listed company, we can use different thing. I think that's possible. So different thing will do the audit, and different thing will do the preparation for them. This is that okay? Do you guys agree with that? And if you have any other one, please can you say it so that I can put it down? Anybody else?
I think it's fine. It's fine this way.
All right. So,
but would it be right for an audit company to go ahead to do the audit even without the financial statement being prepared, and now giving their own reports on what they think is wrong with the company?
No, that another company will do the preparation for them, right?
No, that is one. What if they just give their own how I call it, a report on the lapses from the company at their own final report? Will it be wrong?
No, like who prepare it?
XYZ did not prepare. They have refused to. They have refused to. The management of XYZ has refused to prepare financial reports. Meanwhile, they have asked the audit client to come do the audit.
Yeah.
The audit client will, on their own, with integrity, not prepare the financial statement.
No, sure.
Give a report, and at the end of the day, give a report, a completion report about the XYZ financial. That these are the few things that they have found, and go ahead. Would that be allowed?
No, And okay, if I understand your question, sir, if you know, for me to, as an auditor now, I'm working on the financial statements. So if the financial statement is not ready, it's like there's no work for me.
Yes. Okay, so you can't go ahead.
I can't go ahead because we can't do it. So the financial statement must be ready, must be prepared, then before we now have the audit.
Audit, okay then.
All right. So I think the second one that we also make mention of is, what's the name of this thing? Said management words. Let me write it in this. This one, there's also management, right? Because it's their responsibility. So we'll go now. Preparing what? Sorry. Preparing the financial statements. Preparing the financial statement alongside. I just want to work alongside. But I want to relate. Just make sure you are relating to the question a lot. But you need to be fast so that your typing skill in your exam. Alongside performing the audit of the financial statement. Give right. Because so that's all. So from this situation now, before you now go, don't forget, we now need to tell them the word. What are some of the recommendations that you're not going to, you can put something like this. You can say action / recommendation. Okay, based on this scenario, you have what we have identified, we have explained. You will not go. So you tell them what? How can we now resolve it? What are some of the things that you are asking these people to do? So one, can close this. So what do you think we can do? Let me open the floor so that you guys will understand. It's just, I think I'll make mention of it. So I can say that what if XYZ is not what? Is not listed. The financial statement could be what? Could be prepared with the what? With the use. The use a what? Different team. Different team. Oh. And number two, however, that is based on the first problem. Number two now, the second problem is on the what? On the management. However, it is what? It is prohibited. It's HI. It is prohibited to assume management what? To assume management responsibility. So in that, so me like overall now is that I can't do it. Okay. So do we feel like we want to add anything to it before we go? So you tell them the problem, explain it based on the case, then you can tell them something that can bring in some safeguard, which is just the last thing. Okay, based on that problem, you have explained it based on the case. What do you think we can do? So whatever you think that we can do, that would just be my recommendation. So that recommendation, that action is like what? It's like safeguard to reduce the problem. So I don't know if some of us have questions that you'd like to ask, please. So this one is simple, and then I think we can go to the second one. Don't worry, I'll send this work file so you can always go through. So another one here. There's a comment on the ethical and professional issue raised. And don't forget this, the article is very, very important. Just comment on the ethicals and the professional issue raised and recommend any action which should be taken in respect of what request for the management team of what. So let's go again. The requirement is what is the same. Number 2. You are what? You are a manager in one of the assurance department of Leopard & Co., a large firm of what? Of chartered accountant. They are currently assigned to a due diligence engagement. For one of your firm audit clients. There is a client test. A manufacturer of what? Bespoke was furniture. The audit is conducted by a team from a different department. That's fine. You have never been involved in the audit of this client. So meaning that this is like your what? You as a manager now, this is like your first engagement with this particular client. So the management team of the client has also approached Leopard & Co. to ask whether a representative of the firm could be available to attend a meeting with their banker who they are hoping will finance the acquisition of what? Zebra. To support the management in conveying the suitability of the acquisition. Look at this. You can see this is a problem because it's under due diligence. And once you hear anything due diligence, I'm very sure some of us will remember there's like what? Acquisition is coming in. So they want us to meet with their banker. So I want to highlight this because this is a problem. For the meeting, the bankers require the most up-to-date interim month accounts with the accompanying auditor independent interim review. Okay, that's fine. Your firm is due to complete the interim review shortly, and the management team of the management team has requested that the interim review is completed quickly. This is a strange word. I can highlight it. That means to complete the work quickly. Just be skeptical. So that it does not hold up the negotiation with the bank, stating that if it does, it may affect the outcome of the awards of the next audit tender, which is due to take place after the awards. Oh my God. So that's fine. So the first step for you now is what? Can anybody identify the threats? Explain please, at least in the article. This is like your this should be your guide. This is it, don't forget. It's very simple stuff. The first thing you identify. You identify the threat. Abi? The second thing you explain the threat. Just 3 steps. Explain the word threat. And the third thing I want you to do is suggest. Suggest a recommendation. Just a recommendation. Delete MM. Commendation. Maybe? Or sometimes we call it action. So that is our word now. That is like our guide when you come across any word, any question on ethicals and professional, you identify, you explain, you suggest a word, any recommendation that I can do. So now the first thing that we need to do now is we need to identify the trend. And let me zoom it out a little bit. Please, can you think of any trend now? Don't forget you're a manager. It's very good. it's a very nice position though. So what are the trends? That's the first thing. Anybody? Just think of it now. What are the trends? Can anybody try? Read through now. Don't rush yourself. You know, the examiner also say, let's go back. Because I don't want to word. There's no need of rushing anything. They say what? Read the scenario carefully. This is coming from the examining team now. You can see. They are advising you that read the words, the scenario carefully. Don't rush to pick. Don't rush to pick. Read it carefully. And from here now, read this particular scenario now. I want, but if you can put it in the chat box, you can mute yourself. What are the trends? Because you cannot proceed now without you identifying the problem. Anybody? At least we are more than 1 hour in this corner. Can anybody say something, please? Mr. Bamidele, what do you think? What are some of the trend that we can identify from this situation now? You are a manager. They say we should meet with their banker. If you are meeting with your client banker, what trend does that give rise to? Please say something now. Please, can you guys hear me? It seems like everywhere is silent. Hello? Please, can you guys hear me, please? I'm sorry. Where is my network bad? Hello, please.
We can hear you, sir. We are with you. We can hear you. All
right, now please respond now. So, what do you think is it? Can you anybody please try? Just read this case now. What are the trends? Is there advocacy? Is there familiarity? Is there intimidation? Self-review? Management trends? Intimidation. Okay, so that's what I need for. That's cool. So 1. Let me write it as resolution. That's not what. Not difficult now. So 1, so at least we have what? 1. Don't make mention of familiarity. Okay, that's cool. Anything else?
Intimidation to explain.
Okay, thank you, sir. Intimidation. Anything else? Let me scroll. We have to. It's very true. What do you think? Because for us to proceed now, we need to what? We need to first of all identify.
I suspect advocacy too.
Advocacy. Thank you, sir. Advocacy. Advocacy. Anyone? We have how many now? Okay. Since they asked you to meet with their banker, I'm also helping you guys out. That's the words. That's the management, right? It's not your responsibility to meet with their banker. I've been now. I don't know if someone can back me up. You are the auditor now. They're asking you to be meeting with their banker. It's not your responsibility now to be meeting with their banker. Nothing concerns you. If you like, get the loan. If you like, don't get the loan. It's not our responsibility. So, is there anything else? I don't think so. But this word is bad. Quickly. Okay, that's where the intimidation is coming up now. Quickly, so that it does not hold up the negotiation with the bank, stating that if it does, we can say intimidation is there. And I think I agree with everything that we have here. So, but let's say there's familiarity. You guys should think of, is there self-review? Do you think there will be self-review in this case? Anybody? Do you think that there will be self-review? You need to think very well in audit, to be honest. What about if they win the loan? Who audits it? Please, anybody?
And then the self-review will come in then.
Yeah, that's so. There's self-review here as well. Self-review. Self-review. So I think that's 5 now. But to be honest, I don't know. One of our colleagues make mention of this familiarity. Please, can you help me out, please? Because I don't seem to. Why do you think that there's familiarity here? Can you try, please? Can someone make mention of that?
Yeah, I mentioned it because of the meeting with the bankers, with the organization banker. That was why I mentioned it.
Don't you think that advocacy would be more better than the familiarity?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, advocacy should be more better. Can anybody also say something? Because if you are meeting with their banker, surely you're not going to say anything bad about that particular client. That's one thing. So I think since you are meeting with their banker, then that advocacy will go better. So I think these are the only 4 that we can go for now. So I don't know if anybody think of, okay, let me leave number 5. Okay, just call it at any time. So let's start with the first one, which is intimidation. So we need to explain it now. Intimidation. So we have identified. Then the next thing you do what now? You explain it. And this is audit. There's no need to be, it has to be a long paragraph, but it has to be concise and what to the point. So intimidation is alright. That if it does, it will affect the next outcome of the audit tender. Okay, that's fine. This arises the manager expression in the work so to complete the audit work quickly. Hence, the hospital go now. Please. I think this maybe one line speak to the message, right? So we can do another one. We make mention of what self-review. Self-review. So self-review, because new part. The one later in the field. Later in the final, sorry. Later in the final audit, the work. Okay, let me bring this down. Sorry. Sorry. So, I think if you can help me out, we can also add another one to that. So to not be critically reviewed by the other team. Yeah. So this is what now? This is one. Serve review. We also make mention of the word the intimidation as well. All right, so let me shift this down. Okay, let me give space in case some people think of anything. So another one that we can also work. We have what now? Intimidation, and the intimidation occurs as a result of what? They're asking us to what, to do the work quickly, or I think you can see that word. We are trying to what, to relate to the question, because it is clear that the work should be completed quickly so that it does not hold up the negotiation with the bank, stating that if it does, it will affect the outcome of the next audit tender. So they are intimidating us now that if you don't perform the work quickly, to affect your what, the next audit engagement. All right. So we also make mention of advocacy. Yeah. Advocacy. Sorry. Advocacy. Because I don't know, there's no interest of the word of the client, because you cannot be representing someone and you'll be saying bad. You're saying bad about that particular individual. I don't think it's possible. Okay, so that is another word. That is another thread, and I think the explanation is very easy for us to also understand. So we can also go again. We also identify which one again. Management word, management thread. That's also cool. Sorry. So we have what's management thread. So Don't forget, whenever you are carrying out any tax that is the responsibility of the management, then this particular threat will come up. Negotiating. I don't know why they want us to be there. Negotiating a bank loan. See what is the management responsibility. Okay. So negotiating a bank loan is a management responsibility, and the auditor, if representing the management, will also be assuming what management roles and responsibility. That's cool. All right. What else again? And I think I can also expand these words. I can also expand this loan. So I can say loan in the words in the financial statement, if successful, will also lead to serve review. Abi? Right. So lead to serve review trends. Later. Yeah. Okay, so I don't think is there any other one. So once you are through, at least you make mention of words, you relate to the words, relate to the case very well. So another thing that you can come up with from you can use your experience, which is what when someone tell me that I need to complete something quickly is a problem. So from here now, just like as the auditor, it may result in you losing your skepticism. That's one result of that. Because especially if it is a word, if it is a very important word, if it is a very important client, skepticism. Another thing is to also compromise. To compromise because compromise the quality of the work. The quality of the audits work. Because from that word quickly. And indirectly, it will increase negligence. And that will lead to what? That can lead to liability. To increase auditor what? Don't worry, we are still going to talk about what auditor liability as well. So, but these are some of the words. These are some of the things that can lead to the audit liability. So we have identified, we have words, we have identified, we have explained what's the guiding. So the next thing which is the final thing, you need to suggest a recommendation or some action. So after all this now, one thing that we cannot do, which is going to be the final, is the word. You need to tell them the word, the action. You identify the thread, you explain the thread, and you also word provide, give them some action. So based on this problem now, can anybody say so? What are some of the action that we can do? What are some of the safeguard you think we can implement? Anybody? Because this, don't forget the principle. I'm really interested in that, not really the question. It's about how you can able to answer the question. You need to identify the trend. You need to explain it, and you need to tell us a word. You need to provide a safeguard. So we have identified now, we have explained, and the last thing is to provide a recommendation. Bring up a word, a safeguard. So based on this word, based on this problem now, what do you think is the word is a safeguard? Please try. What do you think? Please try now. What do you think? Because it's a problem and you have explained the problem, but that's not all. What do you think could be the solution? Someone should please now. Mr. Bamidele, can you think of anyone? Madam Damilola, can you think of anyone? What would be the word? What do you think is the word? Is the solution that we can do? And please, I hope you guys, you understand what we are trying to do, because that's very important. If you have any question at any time, please, you can always ask. And whatever any suggestion that you have as well, you can bring it. Maybe the phrasing is not okay. You can also suggest as well. So please, what do you think? Think of one now. You are auditor. You're going for the exam now. So think. What do you think you do? Because the problem was any recommendation. So, I have self-review. You need to think of the problem.
For the self-review, for the self-review, we can decide to assign it to different units.
Different team, okay. Yeah, that's fine. So separate words. Thank you very much. That's cool. Separate word audit team to mitigate the word the self-review. Thank you, sir. Self-review threat. That's fine. What else again? Anybody, please think now, because you have identified this is what we have discussed it. So for each of the problem, you also need to be thinking of what solution can you provide. So what we are doing last night is is the solution to the problem that you have identified and you have explained. Please, what can we do? At least self-review now is what is out.
For intimidation, I think it's to get the audit.
It's to do what, sir?
I used to judge the audit how I call it my exercise, not to do it at all, not to accept the audit and engagement. For me.
Okay. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Another one, at least if you look at okay, that's fine. Let's put something down there. We can say what can we do? Okay, I can say discourse. Alright, this. So hold on. So discourse on that words. Okay, sorry. Discourse with the management that work cannot That's one. And don't forget, it is prohibited for you. Just like what my organ said. It is. It is prohibited to assume management responsibility. Any other thing? Anybody else? Any solution? You have make mention that that should use different team, and that's fine. Discuss with the management. It is prohibited for us to assume what cannot be performed quickly. So whatever any words, whatever any solution that you worked that you could have think of, then you are going to do what now? You are going to suggest that to the team. Please, do we understand this process before we what? Let's say we move on now, or maybe.
It's understood.
Okay. So those are how you are going to approach question relating to ethical and prevention. I think there's another one. So what's the requirement here? Same. So let's say a word. You have been asked to provide an accounting report for Audit's client, Preferred Co, which intended to list on the stock market in September 20x5. So it's like our client is what now? They want to become what? They want to become listed. All right, they want to be what? They want to become listed, and that's okay. So Effort Core has been an audit client for the what? For the last 80 years. Note this down. Prepare the financial statement to 31st of March each year. Throughout the what? Throughout this period, the managing partner at your firm, Francis, has taken a personal responsibility for the audit and has increased the total fees income from the client to the level where it represented was 16.2. What? 16.2 of our revenue. And it was what? Which is in the current year in 20x5. In 20x4, it is what now? 15.4. So meaning that the manager, the partner is really what? Is really trying because the revenue that is coming from this client is quite what? It's very, very what? It's very, very cool. So we are now being what now? We are now being told that in addition to perform the annual audits, we also provide accounting and bookkeeping service. For this? The accounting and bookkeeping service include the preparation of the monthly payroll for the client, maintaining all their financial records for a small, immaterial division of the company. That's cool. The managing director of the client has asked your firm for assistance in the preparation of the share prospective document, which will be used to support the word. Let me highlight this. Will be used To support the word, the company was flotation. You know, they're about to be what? They're about to be listed now. They're about to be what? They're about to be listed now. So they also asked us to do that work. The content of the word, the document will include the following: key historical words, information, profit forecast, a summary of the word, the key risks, a business plan outlining the future prospects of the company, and recommending the shares to investors. So now, the manager has asked that our firm can also provide accountant report, which will be included in the prospectus, and which will cover each of those elements. The company is also currently reviewing the audit appointment, and is looking forward like an audit firm which is capable of taking it through the listing process and providing a full range of service in the future. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of trend in this question, which I will be happy to even leave it for you guys. What do you think? So, what do we need to do? Anybody? So now, these are the problem now. These are what the client is asking us to what. These are what the client is asking us to do for them. Mind you, they're about to be what? They're about to be listed. Because that's very, very what? That's a very, very key to these words. So what we are going to what we are going to do. It is very, very what? It is very, very key. So now from this okay, let me zoom it out a little bit. What are the words? I want you guys to please identify some of the words. Identify the thread that you can that you feel it is it is applicable in this situation. Don't forget, let's go back. Let's say read the scenario carefully. I want you to please have this at the back of your mind. Read it carefully. So now read this carefully as well. Identify the problem first. And I think I've drafted 2 now, but in this one there's more. So meaning that at least it will give us chance as well to write something down. So think of it, read it carefully. This is it on the page for you. What do you think? Anybody?
You have to first identify, right?
Yeah, that's the first thing, sir. The first thing is we'll identify first.
I like our peak familiarity.
Okay, so just note it down as much as you can. Keep identifying. Let's identify first. So once we identify, then we cannot be thinking of the remaining thing, which is to explain it. Okay, this is what happened. So the first thing is to first of all identify. We need to know the problem. So please take a few minutes of your time. Help me to identify what are the words. the problem you think is present in this particular word, in this particular scenario. Please just try. What are some of the problem you feel we have here? Whatever any knowledge, this is what now 6:17. So just take some 3 minutes more. Just think of identify the problem first. Identify the problem as much as you can. What do you think is the problem here? Before we cannot start what we can be discussing it together. So just take 3 minutes of your time. Two more minutes. You think is the problem? This particular scenario. One more minute.
Management threats.
Yeah, that's cool. Management threat. Yes, that's cool.
Self-interest.
Self-interest. Okay, please just help me to be what? Just be noting it down.
Self-review.
Familiarity.
Familiarity. Okay, that's cool. So everybody now, how many do you have? Like, how many do you have currently? Do you have anybody that have 4? Do you have 4?
I have 4.
You have 4. Okay, yeah. So solution. So at least we'll draft this one together. So let me go to the next page. So go ahead, son. The first one.
I think I mentioned familiarity.
Okay, you mentioned what? Familiarity.
Familiarity threat.
Okay, familiarity. Familiarity. Sorry. What else?
Management threat.
Management. What else?
Self-review.
Self-review.
Self-interest.
Self-review. Self-interest. Sorry, self-interest. Anybody else? Is there anybody that would like to give it a try? So apart from this, is there any, maybe some of us you have other one that is not, or maybe that is not like this? Anybody? Okay, so let me now start. Let's go together. So meaning that our answer now, based on everybody agree that it is this, what? These are the these are some of the words, these are some of the problems that can occur. So we say familiarity. Why, Sam? So how do you say that? Why do you think it's familiarity?
Based on the relation that the audit has been with the firm.
Based on
The relation that we've been auditing
for 8 years. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, I agree with that. At least, yeah, that's fine. Okay, if you're not, don't go ahead. I can. The management trend. Why management trend? This you can leave the rest for me. Why management trend? So why do you go for management? Anybody too can also please say something, please.
I would say because management has asked the acting them to share of their respective documents and also the accounting services.
Okay, the bookkeeping. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you very much. Bookkeeping service. So I think familiarity. Let me just write something. Just 8 years, so that I don't need to go back. Management. I think that bookkeeping service, right? Abby, please.
Yes.
Bookkeeping. Okay. Self-review. Why? Since you are the auditor now. Abby. Okay, I get this. What of self-interest? Why self-interest?
That's that.
What is it, sir? Why self-interest?
Their charts. Their part.
Okay. Okay, go for that. Please explain it so that if I'm drafting. Okay, fees.
So what from the fees they are charging becoming more ridiculous. That's the reason they are trying to keep doing it that the company wants to do.
Okay.
If they have something taken on that, they have a financial interest in the company.
Okay. That's fine. Is there any other one that we can identify as well from this case? At least we have not make any information relating to this now. Think of it now. The prospective. They have asked us to do it now, have you? They say the managing director of the world has asked your firm for assistance in the preparation. So that's also another problem now. So whatever the problem is, you identify the problem. So share words. Share perspectives. Document. That's another one. What else again can we identify? What any threat? What about if I say intimidation? Anybody? Are you going to agree? We agree with that. Please, let's discuss together at least. Do you think intimidation can work?
I don't think you can get.
You didn't say anybody. So at least we are just trying to break it down, self-review. So if you look at this word, they say what? The company is currently reviewing audit appointment and is looking for what audit firm which is capable of taking through the leasing process and providing a full range of service in the future. So as a result of that, what do you think the MD is trying to stress here? Sabam that sometimes audit is funny. Eh?
I get it.
Yeah, so like it's like the MD saying that, oh, I'm looking for people that will that will provide a full range of service for me. It's like it's trying to I don't know if you guys also align with me, right? That's like intimidation. So I think we are able to cover everything, which is how many now? This is like familiarity. So this is like long word now due to this like long association, Abby. If I'm right, Abby. Bookkeeping, that's management. This is self-interest. Okay, yeah. So there's also going to be self-review because you are doing the bookkeeping for them. So when you do the audit, that's fine. So we also talk about, okay, 1, 4. Okay, so this intimidation, I think, is coming from review. I mean, let me just say audit appointment. Audit appointment towards review. Guy is looking for people that will do everything for them. So thank you everyone. I really appreciate that. So the next thing we'll do now, let me zoom in. So there's no need of going back. So I think maybe I can draft word now. I can draft 2 and you guys who want can do the remaining one. Okay. So let's go now. We have identified the word. The next thing that we need to do now is to explain it. So the first one, say familiarity, right? 8 years is a very long journey. At least 8 years in Nigeria now should be that child should already about to finish on primary school. So familiarity. I think they make mention of the name. I'm coming. I want to copy something. They said throughout, so meaning that throughout this period, the managing partner is Francis. You can see. It's like the engagement partner throughout that 8 years. Wow. You can see. Preparing the financial statement with this throughout this period. That means that throughout that 8 years, the managing partner at your firm has been what? Has taken personal responsibility. So this Francis, I'm sorry, Francis, 8 years long association as engagement partner. Great familiarity. Familiarity. What about the auditor or the audit firm? So to be cause auditor to become skepticism. That's okay. Because of the wording. Okay, so you can still what? You can still go further if you want to. And if it is based on there's a particular code, the international word on international code for ethics, ESBA. So is that if it is a listed, so this is just for listed firm, it should be rotated after 8 years. So this one is what? After what? 7 years, sorry. So that is if it is a what? If it is listed, it should be what? It's a listed word client, the key partner. Be rotated. For 7 years. Please don't forget that. And if it is a what, if it is also if it is a listed, but this complaint is not yet what a listed. So this point I'm trying to make now is just to, in case we come across something like that, based on this particular code, the key partner should be rotated afterward after 8 years, unless maybe there are some circumstances that will make it not possible. Then you cannot go further for another 1 year, so making what 8 years. So I hope everybody was we get now. So that is one, the familiarity we have identified. Another one that is very, very simple is the word the management for me. So let me take that as well. We also have the word the management, right? So in the management right now, this is from the word the provision of the bookkeeping. The bookkeeping, so we can just write something. Bookkeeping and what? An accounting what? An accounting service for the what? For the client. Create. It creates a service, yeah? Yeah. It creates a what? It's a management trend. It can also what? It can also, so you can write this in two ways now, because it is the responsibility of the management to prepare the financial statement. That's one. And you can see in this case now, we are also the what? We are also the auditor. So management right occur. Self-review also what? Self-review also coming. All right. So because it is your responsibility, one, and another thing is that what? It will also create another problem for the what? For the auditor. So these arise. These arise because the auditor is generating give opinion. As a result, the auditor may be less likely to highlight what? Errors. So the auditor less likely to highlight errors if they are aware they are not a member of the what the firm has calculated the fee. Because it's my word, it's my colleague now, so I will not want to be what, I will not want to be stressing myself too much. So I hope you guys can relate to the case very, very well. So that is just a word. That's just like a simple word explanation to what to this. So there are some time whereby which me I'll personally advise that just explain and you can combine the recommendation together. The recommendation would be like one, then everything you just bring the recommendation or the action, or you can be embedding the recommendation as you are writing it as well. So the recommendation can be the recommendation can be coming in. So let's use this as an example. Now, this is what I'm saying. So, they are not yet listed. So what do you think is the solution here now? Can anybody try? They are not yet listed. So I'm still thinking that we can do this thing for them. Do you guys agree with that? Hello? Since they are not words, they are not yet listed, do you think we can do it? I think I should talk now, please. Do you think so? For this is what I'm saying. For a listed what? For a listed client, the book, this service is what? This service cannot be what? We can't provide this word. We can't provide this service for them. We can't what? We can't provide it. Permitted. So, however, we are making another unit of frame. Service. Expanded and separate what? Service. AG now. You don't need to write this in the exam. So what I'm trying to say here is that just like the recommendation, this one should be separate. Separate team is what is used. So meaning now that in KPMG now we have what? Accounting advisory team. So let's say the word it is KPMG that is doing this particular engagement. So rather than what the audit team doing this particular task, the accounting advisory team can actually go and do it. If it is not a word, if it is not a listed word, if it is not a listed. So what I'm saying now in essence here is that rather than you having to say that okay, after you explain everything, then you now bring in the recommendation and a separate heading, you can be writing it and be embedding the recommendation as well. So any one of your word, any one of your choice. Please, do we get that? Everybody, please, do you understand what I'm trying to say, please? So this is like the recommendation now. KPMG have what? Just an example. You don't need to write this. KPMG have a separate unit called accounting advisory. So accounting advisory can go and do it for them. Like for example, you can work in in accounting advisory now. I don't know the audit team. So is what is possible that way. So everybody, please, do you understand what I'm trying towards? What I'm trying to drive at, please.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So we can also pick another one. Which one again? I can pick this intimidation. So I think this is 6. So let me do 3. Then you guys will do the rest. So this is, let me copy this and come here. So the intimidation now. But before we go, do you guys agree with that? Because I think I'm the one that is saying this. Like, look at this word. The MD, the company is currently reviewing the audit appointment and is looking for audit firm that is capable of taking it through the listing process and providing a full range of service in the future. A full range of service. So I feel that they are trying to They're trying to intimidate us, but do you guys disagree with that? And is there, because before I say something, and there has to be an alignment. Everybody, do you agree with that? This word that they are looking for another they are looking for another auditor that will be doing it. So please try as much as possible when you are going in this. Be open-minded. Just think, okay, for every statement, be thinking of, as an auditor, you have to be thinking in negative terms. Don't worry, when we get to analytical procedure, let's say for example now, I have your financial statement now. I have last year, I have this year. And we perform some analytical tests. And it shows that your revenue increased. To me as an auditor now, I will be thinking in negative terms. Like, or let's say your gross profit margin increase. I'll be thinking in negative terms. Negative terms in terms of maybe you overstate your revenue and you understate your what? And you understate your cost of sales. So as an auditor, you always be you're a risk practitioner, so you always be thinking of it's not. And from the exam as well, you can also use that word, that idea. That you'll be looking for something negative at the back of your mind. Whatever the client is doing is like it is wrong. But your revenue increase now. I'm saying that okay. Even from the exam, when we get to analytical procedure, once you calculate the ratio, you convert it to risks. You convert it to what? Risks. Like, oh, gross profit margin increase. What can cause it? It's like you overstating your revenue and understating your cost of sales. So that negative mindset, you have to be thinking of it very well. And please think wide as well. Think wide, but be adaptive. Anything that you are bringing, any solution that you are providing, make sure that you can relate to it, not just from our own personal experience as well as auditor. So like you looking for another guy is like you are intimidating me, to be honest. So please, do we agree with that? Please let me hear from you guys. Please, do you agree with that? That our client is not looking for auditor now. It's like they are intimidating us to be doing everything for them. So
exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The client is currently reviewing capable of what, sir? Hold on, can go back to the question. taking it through listing process and provide. So I can just copy this. Capable of taking taking it through the listing process and providing a full range of service in the future represent give rise to intimidation. Copying this will mean be using name that is very, very word, and that's the reason why I'm doing this. Be using word name that is very, very common in the words in the question. So this means that the word decline. So maybe rather than saying decline, you can use their name. So just be very, very adaptive that, oh, some of the things that you are saying, we can actually see it in the words in the question. If you say something name, so you can be using the rather than saying clients, you can be using their word. You can be using their name. Okay, so what am I trying to write here? So this mean that is applying pressures on. I can also go. What's the name of our company, sir? Our name is this name of our company. So to offer a range of service to result to audit fee. Fail of service. So I think that's it on my hand. So please, maybe the exam we may structure it better, but my objective is that at least we understand what the write-up is all about, and you being, and you have to be let's be adaptive to the case. So they're intimidating us because why are you looking for another word? Why are you looking for another people? Because it's like intimidation. Because nobody wants to lose their job. We don't want to lose client. That's normal, but there are some clients that will go. So I think that is that. We can try words to do. Just try this. The fee is independent, and I think that's the only one. We have talked about familiarity, management, and self-review. So try these two, self-interest on the fees and on the documents. Because here now, The content, like the managing director has asked your firm in assistance in the preparation. So look at this word. So try to come up on these two things. So you can go home now and do this now. All right. So thank you everyone, and this is where we stop. Do you have any question before we go, please? So is there any question like so I'll save this and send it so you can have a look at it. Is there any questions so far? So please don't forget you identify the problem, you explain it, how you can suggest. And rather than you making a word, maybe the action of words, you can actually be embedding it as you are writing it. So that's another option. So self-review, you can bring in the word the solution. The management trend, you can provide the word the safeguard in, but I'll recommend that you just having it as a word, as an heading, so that it will be easy for the examiner to also pick. So thank you everyone, and this is where we're going to stop for today. So what? To next week. If there's not any question. So thank you everyone, and bye for now.